Thought we could talk a little bit today about what's going on over in Ukraine and Russia, and maybe a couple other topics. Just a few thoughts that I'd like to share. So it seems that we're on the precipice of a very historic time period with everything that's going on and the changes that are going on in the international foreign realm and also in the economic realms. And I'd like to talk a little bit about both today. So, today is April 15th, 2022, and we've been experiencing this war between Russia now and Ukraine since about February 24th, give or take. And it's been quite a wild, rocky ride. We just had the Moscow flagship called the Moskva that was sunk, and this is quite a big PR defeat, I would say, for Russia. There's also some rumors going around that I've been following, perhaps about why some of the FBS and the fifth column has started to be arrested and put into prison in Russia. And the rumor is that basically a lot of these Ukrainian intelligence agencies had lied to the Kremlin and had lied to Putin about basically different power structures or different groups within Ukraine that were going to rise to help the Russians within Ukraine outside of the Donbass. And so the rumors are that basically they had created a fake group that was going to rise, and because of this, the Russians found out that they didn't have as much support as they thought, and thus they have imprisoned the head of this fifth estate or fifth column that Vladimir Putin built in the 1998. And so basically, this is an idea that some people are speaking about, and it could be true. But I do not think it's that. It could be partially due to that, but I think more what happened in Kiev was more of a diversionary tactic, and they're basically trying to create a cauldron in the south and the east of Ukraine, which is going to decimate, these large groups of Ukrainian soldiers and Azov militia members. And so basically, everything has been a feint. It's like if you're a jouster, you take two strikes forward and you hit, and then you pull back, okay? And then you have a more defensive position. And so, unfortunately, is what we have seen, and I believe what Putin would have expected was that Zelensky and the Ukrainians were going to fold over easy, and I don't know if they thought that there was going to be a protracted war or not, but I think that the war itself has been a diversion. Kiev was a diversion, and then the war itself is a diversion from the actual economic war that's been going on. And I'd like to talk a little bit about that. The economic war is that as soon as the invasion started from Russian side, the West did the greatest sanction package ever against any country throughout history. This at one time it was a kill shot that the Americans believed and the West believed could destroy Russia's economy, but almost like Aikido, the martial arts, basically you take the energy that's coming and you can use it to flip your opponent or to get them off steady, and that's what the Russians and Putin has done. Basically, they were able to see the sanctions that came in 2014 after Crimea annexation, and they were able to prepare for this one. And so basically, I think that they knew that this was going to occur, and they have gone to to battle to basically prevent an offensive battle on the Russian homeland after the economic war has started. And so what Russia has been able to do is that this major sanctions came 45 days ago, give or take, and have continued to build. But Russia was able to not only provide a foundation for the ruble and the currency, but it actually has risen to pre-war levels. And Biden, I believe, is not intelligent enough and does not know enough about foreign geopolitics or international finance to see what's going on behind the scenes. And it's more or less this that the United States has had a stranglehold over the world and created a lot of the majority of the poverty across every country, because we are trusted with the world reserve dollar currency. And basically, as we print this and other people use it or store it, through inflation, they are naturally becoming poor to the point that this currency is going to be eventually worthless. It does not make sense how the United States political class, a very small percentage of the entire world, and the wealthy elites on Wall Street are the ones that are getting to benefit from the ability of our government just to print an unbelievable amount of money for its bills. They have broken their social contract when they believe that it is okay to use this tool for the purposes of doing whatever they would like across the world. And they don't have any way to be responsible for their finances whatsoever, yet they demand from the American population that we live within our means, that do proper budgeting, that we are able to make enough money that we can pay for ourselves and also pay taxes. Thus, the social contract has been completely broken, and the United States, in my opinion, should not have any ability to control international financial affairs. Not to say that Americans as individuals cannot do so, but the American government has lost all trustworthiness on an international scale. Thus, simply what the Russians and the Chinese are essentially doing is they are attempting to rebuild the international economic order. And the United States has ran things based upon pure finance, which is paper-based finance, on debt instruments for 50 plus years now. And even before then, the entire system is being set up in that way. So there's nothing backing our currency whatsoever. There's nothing backing or stopping our Federal Reserve from creating as much money as it wants. And basically, this negatively affects the rest of the world, especially countries like Russia, China, any other country that does not have the ability to print money like the United States does. Even though China does to a certain extent, Russia has been very, very, very smart and strategic about acquiring its gold assets. But the major move that is occurring is that because of these sanctions, because the United States froze the Russian foreign assets, $300 billion, that basically said that we're not going to allow you to spend it. That shows that the United States can no longer be trustworthy, and it gives Russia the evidence and the impetus it needs to build a new financial system. And thus, that's what we're seeing. They have been able to, as soon as the ruble tanked, they were able to build a foundation by saying that they're only going to accept rubles for natural gas. And whenever 40% or more of European energy costs and energy comes from Russia, then they know that they have a certain leverage point that they can use. But not only that, Russia has also said that their banks will buy gold at 5,000 rubles per gram in perpetuity, and they have the ability to either raise or lower the price. So it could be either more rubles or less rubles per pure gram. And so thus, Russia is the first person since 1971, or major country, that has established a de facto gold, natural gas currency peg. And this is basically going to change our system from a dollar-based commodity system that is based purely on finance and paper debt to an international order with currencies that are based upon commodities and gold. This will have enormous effects, and essentially there will be nothing that the United States can do because we cannot live within our budgetary constraints. It forces us to continue to print money to get out of this situation. And so Russia and China, to a certain extent, are at a much better economic financial foundation standpoint. And this, I think, is the big what people are not seeing, and what people are not understanding. If the United States dollar starts to really depreciate because of the lack of trust amongst our leadership, then basically we won't have enough money to pay our troops, to pay our government, to pay our people, to keep the pie growing enough that people will continue to get paid. I think that Russia knows that this is the real nuclear moment, and nuclear weapons doesn't really have anything to do with the major military weapons, although they have said that it could get to that point. And if Finland, Sweden, Estonia, Latvia, Lithuania, and Poland all start to go on the offensive against Russia, then I don't see how Russia will not use nuclear weapons. They've said they're going to do it. At this point, people are just going like lemmings behind Ukraine over the abyss, and it's sad to see. It's kind of a new alliance block within the alliance block, is what I see. Is this NATO, UK, kind of UK is supporting Poland, Finland, Sweden, Estonia, Latvia, Lithuania, Ukraine, and those are sort of the expendable frontline countries that are being put forth, and they can't even see it. They can't even see that they're right. They are right in the target here, and I hope that it doesn't get worse. But Russia right now is fighting for its own survival, like a bear trapped in a cave with hunters that are pointing it with weapons. The Moskva. 2 days before, the Americans had said that they were going to start giving intelligence, pure intelligence, to the Ukrainians. I have no doubt that this was done by the American side. And that's what's sad to see, to me, is that there is this international, I almost call it a conspiracy, where people are saying, support Ukraine, and yet it's America that is doing all the decisions here. And thus, America, is hiding behind Ukraine and using Ukraine as its dummy, basically, against Russia. And Russia's coming out right now and saying, if you continue to do this, if you continue to put weapons in here, there will be unpredictable consequences. This is what the West wants right now. This is what Biden wants. They realize how weak. I'd like to make an analogy. Pre-World War One, the British were completely bankrupt. The only thing that they could do was go to war to come out of that situation, to do a world war and to win it. And so basically, Britain is just following the same footsteps along with America this time. America realizes its foundation is so weak that it economically cannot afford to continue on its current path. So the powers that be, it feels like, rather just destroy it all and start from scratch. And I hope that does not occur. I hope that strategically, our leaders can come together and work this out. Last thing I'd like to say is Zelensky is, to me, a lot of people are comparing Putin to Hitler, but it doesn't, the analogy does not make sense. Zelensky right now is the more Napoleonic Hitler type figure in this, trying to get everybody to fight to the death. He is being pushed upon the world by all these elites, just like Hitler was. He is supported from behind the scenes by very shady criminal elites, just like Hitler was. One could even say that from a lot of evidence, per se, that Zelensky has a bit of a drug issue or a drinking issue, just like Hitler had. Putin doesn't drink. He's a judo strategical thinker. It's complete opposites in both of these regards. I'm trying to stay neutral in this as much as possible, but I'm just merely saying I think it's a joke whenever Zelensky, he runs around with a director entertainment crew that every moment is just about how to look good. That's why I'm saying about the Moskva too. It is a big deal, but it's not that big of a deal. It's more for perception. They wanted to get a big target for their perception, and Putin and the Russians don't really care about perception. It's about getting done and taking care of business. So we'll see what happens. This is my first video on the topic, and I appreciate it, and this is just a thought. Thank you.